Emily could still remember the day her stepbrother, Ryan, had moved into her house. Their parents had recently gotten married after a whirlwind romance. And while Emily was unsure about the blending of their families, Ryan had always been nice to her. He was smart, charming, and everyone seemed to love him, especially her best friend, Chloe. Chloe had been one of the first to express interest in Ryan, Emily remembered. Chloe giggling in the hallways, making small excuses to come over after school just to catch glimpses of him. At first, Emily found it harmless. After all, Ryan was only a couple of years older than they were, and it was natural for Chloe to have a crush. But then things started to feel strange. Chloe began spending more time with Ryan than with Emily when she came over, and Emily couldn't shake the nagging feeling that something wasn't right. It was a warm Friday afternoon when Emily stumbled upon the truth. Chloe had come over for what Emily assumed would be their usual study session. But instead of heading to Emily's room, Chloe had disappeared into Ryan's, closing the door softly behind her. Emily, puzzled, stood in the hallway for a moment. Maybe they were just talking, she thought, though her heart hammered in her chest. Against her better judgment, she crept closer and pressed her ear to the door. What she heard inside shattered her world. Ryan and Chloe were whispering in hushed voices, their words muffled but unmistakably intimate. Chloe's voice, usually so bubbly and carefree, sounded anxious. Ryan, on the other hand, was calm, his voice low and persuasive. "You know we can't keep doing this, Ryan," Chloe whispered. "What if Emily finds out? She's my best friend." "She won't find out. I'll make sure of it," Ryan replied confidently. "Besides, you said you couldn't stay away from me." Emily's stomach dropped. It wasn't just a crush. Her stepbrother was in a full-blown relationship with her best friend, and a legal relationship, as Chloe was underage. And Ryan, barely an adult, knew it was wrong. For a few moments, Emily stood frozen outside the door, her mind racing. She didn't know what to do, but she couldn't confront them, not yet. So she retreated quietly to her room, her heart pounding in her chest. The betrayal from both of them stung deeply, but the implications of what she discovered were terrifying. This wasn't just about her feelings. Ryan could go to jail. Chloe's life could be ruined over the next few days. Emily wrestled with her emotions. Should she tell someone? Should she confront Chloe or Ryan? But as much as she wanted to expose the truth, a part of her hesitated. Ryan was still her stepbrother. Her family was already fragile, and this revelation could destroy everything. The breaking point came one evening when Chloe sent Emily a panicked text message. "I need to talk to you. It's about Ryan. Please meet me tonight at the park." Emily's heart raced as she read the message. Chloe had never been this frantic before. Something must have happened between her and Ryan, and maybe Chloe was finally ready to confess. Emily agreed to meet her, hoping that this conversation would finally bring the truth to light. As Emily arrived at the park, the sun was setting, casting long shadows across the playground. Chloe was sitting on a bench, her face pale, her eyes red from crying. She looked up as Emily approached, her hands trembling. "Emily, I don't know how to say this, but I've made a huge mistake," Chloe began, her voice cracking. "Ryan, he's not who I thought he was. I can't keep this secret anymore." Emily sat down beside her, her heart pounding in her chest. "What are you talking about?" she asked, though she already knew. Chloe took a deep breath. "Ryan and we've been seeing each other. I know it's wrong, but it's more than that. He's been pressuring me to do things I don't want to do, and I can't take it anymore. I'm scared of him, Emily. He said if I told anyone, he'd make sure I regretted it." Emily's blood ran cold. The stepbrother she had once trusted was not only involved in a relationship with her best friend, but he was manipulative and dangerous. She felt a mixture of anger and fear. But before Emily could respond, they heard a rustling in the bushes nearby. Ryan stepped out from the shadows, his expression dark and unreadable. He had followed them. "Chloe, what did I tell you about keeping your mouth shut?" His voice was low and threatening. Chloe stood up, backing away from him. "Ryan, please, I can't do this anymore." Ryan's eyes flicked to Emily, his jaw tightening. "This is none of your business, Emily. You should leave." Emily's hands shook as she stood her ground. "It is my business. You're hurting Chloe, and what you're doing is illegal. I won't let you get away with this." Ryan took a step closer, his eyes narrowing. "You don't understand. You have no idea what I'm capable of." Chloe let out a small sob, stepping further back toward the edge of the park's wooded area. Panic filled Emily as she realized just how dangerous the situation had become. But then, in the blink of an eye, everything escalated. Ryan lunged toward Chloe, his hand reaching for her arm. Chloe screamed, pulling away, but Ryan was faster. Emily watched in horror as they struggled, their movements frantic and uncoordinated. And then it happened. Chloe lost her footing on the uneven ground, and with a sickening thud, she fell backward, her head striking a large rock. She lay still, her eyes wide open but unseeing. For a moment, the world stood still. Emily's breath caught in her throat, and Ryan froze, staring at Chloe's motionless body in shock. "No," Emily whispered, her voice barely audible. She rushed to Chloe's side, shaking her, but it was too late. Chloe was gone. Ryan stepped back, his face pale. "It was an accident," he muttered. "She slipped. It wasn't my fault." But Emily knew better. Ryan's actions, his manipulation, his threats, they had led to this moment. And now, someone was dead because of it. Before Emily could react, Ryan grabbed her arm, his grip tight and desperate. "You can't tell anyone about this, Emily. Do you hear me? If you do, I'll make sure you regret it. We'll both go down for this." Emily's mind raced. Her best friend was dead, and her stepbrother was willing to do anything to protect his secret. She had to make a choice. Either she kept quiet and allowed Ryan to get away with everything, or she took the risk and exposed the dark truth that had led to Chloe's tragic death. With tears streaming down her face, Emily made her decision. She would not let Ryan control her, not anymore. And she wouldn't let Chloe's death be in vain. "I'm not afraid of you," Emily said, her voice trembling but determined. "I'm telling the truth, no matter what it costs me." Ryan's face twisted in anger, but before he could react, Emily turned and ran, her heart pounding in her chest as she dialed 911. The dark secret was out, and there was no turning back. In the days that followed, the investigation into Chloe's death led to Ryan's arrest. Though he claimed it was an accident, the truth of his manipulative, relationship with. Chloe and his threats came to light. Emily had lost both her best friend and her stepbrother. But in the end, justice was served. Ryan's dark secret had been exposed, and he would face the consequences of his actions. Emily would never forget the betrayal, the fear, and the loss. But she knew that Chloe's memory would live on, and she had done what was right no matter the cost.